Woman tries to have me arrested for stopping her from shoplifting. I, 19 female, work at a large craft retail store and it was almost closing time. I was at a register waiting for stragglers to check out, and had my back towards the exit, which is right behind the registers. There was nobody coming up, so I was looking around, and I noticed a woman walking quickly behind me towards the exit. By the time I saw her, she was already turning towards the doors and walking into the foyer which leads to the outside entrance, and I only saw her back and a little of her side. Enough that I noticed her arms were crossed over her chest like she was holding something against it. I didn't much of it, just yelled have a good night. I guess she was so focused on getting out of the store she didn't notice me standing there, so when I spoke to her she startled really badly and dropped what she was holding. It was a little vase that cost like $10. So immediately I walked towards her out into the foyer. I don't know why she stayed there. She could have just booked it and I wouldn't have followed her, and I asked her if she was planning to pay for the vase, kind of in a snarky way. But it was late and I was too tired for this bullcrap. She got huffy and said yes, so I picked up the vase to bring it to my register and check her out. I don't know if that set her off or what, but she suddenly got pissed and snatched the vase away from me. She said I paid for this and then started talking some bull about my dirty paws being all over her property. I already knew what this was gonna turn into, so I went to the registers and picked up a phone and paged for my manager. A couple of my coworkers came up to the registers and she started talking to them about how I had tried to steal her property and accused her of shoplifting, and yelled at her. They all knew she was lying already because I'm a very quiet, shy person, and I've never raised my voice let alone yelled at someone at work. The lady started telling my coworkers to call the cops, and also started saying that I had physically cornered her and that she was afraid for her life. Now this woman was tall and pretty broad, and I'm average height then, so she's a good 5 to 6 inches taller than me and much bigger besides height. There's no way I could have intimidated her that much. My coworkers and I just let her carry on until my manager got there, and it turned out that he had been suspicious of her earlier and had been checking the cameras. When she tried to start her bullcrap on him about having me arrested and stuff, he already knew she didn't pay for anything and told her to leave and stop harassing his employees. She told him that she would be calling cooperate, he said go ahead, and she stormed out after that. The kicker of this whole thing was that she was wearing what seemed like expensive clothes and nice jewelry, and when we watched her leave it was in a car that looked pretty new expensive. And she was trying to steal and make a big fuss over a little $10 vase? When she obviously has the money to afford many of them. I hate customers like this. I've worked retail in poorer areas and in richer areas, and I actually saw more shoplifting in the richer areas. I guess it's the same reason some people do base jumping, people who are well off like stealing for the thrill. Many years ago I worked in a coffee shop, and we kept a tip jar by the register. We had a regular group of teenagers that would come in from a very upscale local private school. One evening before close, one of the girls came in by herself. As I walked up to the register to greet her, she tried to snatch the tip jar off the counter and run off. Well, she wasn't expecting the thick piece of Velcro we used to hold it in place. It was just enough to pull the jar out of her hand, causing it to tip onto the counter and spray money all over the counter and floor. She froze, horrified. I stared at her for a second, and then burst out laughing. She took off like her ass was on fire. Never saw her or her friends in the store again. She ruined being able to go to her favorite coffee shop over $10 and change.